Let's talk about gold. What on earth is happening with gold right now? Because it is behaving in the most peculiar of ways. But in all seriousness, a lot of people want to know what's going on with gold. Should I be buying gold? Do I need gold in my portfolio? And so on and so forth. So this video is breaking all that down. The first thing you need to know is that gold is basically near an all-time high right now, which is interesting because typically gold doesn't see huge bumps and jumps in its value unless there is looming financial disaster afoot. Maybe disaster is a little bit of a strong word here, but like the market's going towards all-time highs, it's back to its peak, it's profitable almost on a daily basis, and typically due to that, gold kind of just chugs along until there's some sort of thing like there's a stock market crash or things like that, and then we see a spike in the price of gold. That's what we've seen on a historical basis. But that isn't the case right now, or at least it doesn't seem to be, right? And I would tell you, yes, probably true, right? There isn't a ton of perceived risk at the moment, although I am going to be getting into a few of the things that are kind of happening in the background that I think we should still be cognizant of. But I think one of the biggest things right now that, people kind of overlook is gold is having a much more broad use these days than simply a store of value, which it once was, right? There are tons of technological applications that gold is being used for in modern times, like chips and so on, compared to where it was even a decade ago or 20 years ago, right? So because of that increased demand for a supply of gold, that will naturally lift the price, regardless of whether there is financial disaster looming in the markets or anything like that. I do think there is some undertones of perceived risk in the market, right? Like there is the issues of U.S. debt and treasuries being incredibly high. There are issues regarding government shutdowns. There are issues in regards to what if there is a long drawn out trade war with China and other people, Trump, just slapping tariffs on countries kind of willy-nilly. That puts a lot of kind of panic and pressure in the markets and all of these things, right? So gold, like I've said, has historically been a safe haven. So when there is some perceived undertones of risk, and by the way, the bond market is another area where there's a ton of perceived risk, gold is one of those things that tends to be a safe haven. So because there is sort of that looming background of potential risk, I think a lot of people are looking at gold as that safe haven. But once again, I don't think that is the major tone here. I think it's more, there's more demand for gold than ever before.